So, Chair, the meeting is now live.
Thank you, Carol. Good afternoon and welcome to the Licensing Act 2023 Committee. So we start off with apologies. Are there any apologies for absence?
Yep, I've got apologies, Chair, from Councillors Bev Bainham, Ian McIntosh and Jonathan Wilkinson. And we are expecting Councillor Bryn, so I'll bring him in if he comes along. Councillor Josie's just joined, which is great. So over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Carol.
Chair, can I just say as well, I'm apologising that I will have to leave early if it's after 3 o'clock because I have a prior commitment which I find difficult to get out of. So I'm apologising if the meeting goes on after 3 o'clock.
Thank you, Councillor Hugh. So then we go on to agenda item 2, minutes, to authorise the Chair to sign the minutes of a previous meeting of the committee held on the 2nd December 2024 as a correct record. So yeah, are we happy with that? Okay, thank you very much. So then on to item 3, declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of interest from members relating to any items considered on the agenda. Has anybody got any? No. So then we're on to review of the Licence Act 2003 policy. So we're then over to Nat to take us through the revision of the Licensing Act policy. Thank you, Nat.
Thank you, Chair. So obviously, I'm hoping everyone's received the documents and the handy summary because it's quite a lengthy policy. So I have tried to. I did send the main updates so that you could cast your eye over them. So just to refresh, the whole purpose of the Licensing Act policy, it's basically a document that the licensing authority has to have regard to when considering applications made under the Act. So its purpose is to set out how the authority have interpreted the Act and the basis on which decisions are made. In addition, its purpose is to promote best practice, ensure a consistent application of licensing powers, and to promote fairness, equal treatment, and proportionality. So this policy, along with the best practice guidance that the government publishes, are both essential for the authority in discharging its functions and determining applications under the Licensing Act. It is 5 years since the policy was reviewed, and the updated policy aims to improve and update the current policy, taking into consideration any legislative changes, revisions to the guidance, or relevant case law that may have occurred since. The draft report that you've been circulated, along with the summary document of the changes, highlight the main updates within the policy. So we've collaborated with colleagues from the 4 counties licensing forum when considering any appropriate amends. So that's the 4 counties authorities which are within the Dyfed-Powys police area. So it's colleagues from Carmarthenshire, Ceredigion, Pembrokeshire and ourselves. So they've done similar amends to each of their individual policies with a view to consistency. So we've all agreed these same conditions and so that we can use and promote the same model pool of licensing conditions. So I've met with the licensing managers in all of these respective areas to work through the policy, along with the police licensing officers for each of these respective areas. So we're confident that we've got a consistent and thorough policy following on from all of our input. Furthermore, the policy is supported by our finance teams. With the comments, the Deputy Head of Finance notes the content of the report and supports the recommendation to adopt the policy. The policy is also supported by our legal team. With their comments, the proposed amendments to the licensing policy are both reasonable and reflective of the evolving dynamics within society. It is hoped that they will instigate increased stability and safety for members of the public. The committee is asked to approve this revised Licensing Act policy, and then this will then go out to public consultation, and a final policy will need to be approved by full council by the end of the year or very early next year in order to meet the January 2026 deadline. Has anybody got any questions? Stunned silence.
Yeah, no, Claire's got one.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I've got one question and just one observation, if that's okay.
Course.
So the observation I've got is there are references in the policy to other agencies that no longer exist or have had their names changed. I'm just wondering whether or not we just need to update that now. So
Okay, yes,
new
please.
policy. So Banau Brycheiniog obviously are the instead of Brecon
Yes.
Beacons National Park, the Environment Agency no longer exists. Neither does the British Waterways
NRW, yeah.
Board. You know, so little tidy up things like that, please, just as an observation.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
My question was regarding the does this have any implications or do we need to build in any wriggle room for whatever the UK government is currently consulting on in terms of processes? I think call for evidence is it up to date, I
Yeah,
think, isn't it? So I
it
just
is.
wonder whether we need to have one eye on that in terms of a section that's all, if we're going to be properly up to date come the new policy in January 2026. Thank you.
To be fair, our policy does make reference to the fact that we will take into consideration any legislative changes. So should there be anything significant that comes from this licensing reform, obviously as a licensing authority, we have responded to that call for evidence from the UK government. Some of the changes they've proposed include whether there should be different allowances for on-sale premises and off-sale premises. Other issues include whether there should be an amnesty for out-of-date license conditions, allowing premises to change them. So obviously we've responded as an authority and in consultation with the All Wales licensing expert panel. So we are all aware, and I think every Welsh authority will have the same thing. It's in all our policies that obviously the legislation will be, you know, we will follow the legislation essentially. But yeah, I certainly take that point, and certainly we can look to implement a sentence perhaps in the policy to take into consideration, you know, just to highlight it a bit more.
Okay. Yes. Thank
So has anybody else got any more questions for Natalie? No. We're all good with that.
Wow. I'm almost a bit gutted.
Well, so I guess that we're all happy with what is she indicating on Claire's indicating again?
Sorry, just something else I forgot to mention. Again, I'm conscious that obviously when you drafted this to when it got published might have changed, but in the recommendation there's a blank for a full council meeting in November, but presumably that before we approve any recommendation that we just need to be clear on which full council this is going to. Presumably it's which date is just blank at the moment. So
yeah, because we didn't have a date. We have, you know, obviously we don't know whether there's going to be any public objections. So obviously any amendments that are made, you know, from the public, that will then have to go to full council for them to approve. We'll get it in as soon as the public consultation period has ended. We'll get it to the next available full council meeting that we can, to ensure that it gets in by January.
Yes, Councillor Hugh.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I misunderstood you earlier on, Natalie, whether you did cover this point, but I did hear what you say. I must have been somewhere else. But vaping premises are not licensed at the minute, are they? And after there's been issues, obviously, over the last week or so, and they are talking about personal and premises licenses for such establishments. Do you envisage that in the near future? Is that something that could be allowed for now, or is it too soon and it's perhaps hearsay?
It is a little bit of hearsay. Vape shops are currently fall under the remit of our trading standards colleagues.
Right.
So it's not a regime that we enforce, but obviously a lot of these shops. In fact, we recently revoked a premise license in Welshpool. There was a premise that was selling illegal vapes and cigarettes, and Trading Standards carried out a test purchase there, and they discovered a huge quantity of illegal cigarettes and the like. This premise also held an alcohol license. So we have since been able to revoke that license and take away the alcohol sales. They can still trade at the moment, but clearly you would think it's not a viable business. Well, it's not a viable, legitimate business if they can't sell, a corner shop that can't sell alcohol. So there does need tighter regulation. I fully agree with you, but we don't think it's coming our way. It may well be coming Trading Standards' way.
Okay, thank you for that.
Councillor William.
Thank you, Chair. Just carrying on from Councillor Hughes' thoughts. Is there going to be any wriggle room for energy drinks as well? Like I work in the retailing trade, and energy drinks are a massive sort of well, in terms of sugar, caffeine as well. So the place where I work, we do have an age restriction on energy drinks, but is it something the county council would consider?
Again, there's no actual legislation that falls under licensing remit for energy drinks at the moment, but I am aware that the vast majority of retailers have their own internal policies where they will not sell to under 16s, and they will limit the number that you can purchase at any one time. But obviously this isn't legislated yet. We haven't received any information or been consulted on whether this would fall to licensing. So that's not something that I can see happening imminently at the moment, not under this legislation anyway.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Natalie. It doesn't look like there's any more questions for you.
Perfect.
So, yeah, I think that's, no, I can't see anybody else wanting to. So, yeah.
Do you need a vote?
We need to vote. So, are those in favour of taking this to consultation? Do you want to? Yeah, brilliant, Adrian. Yeah, fantastic. Everybody's doing it by virtual.
Sorry, Chair, can I just come in there? Is this the policy as before you, or subject to the amendments as were suggested by Natalie?
Yeah, no, the amendments that have been suggested, is it?
Yes, the draft policy that you've been
draft
sent with the new amendments that I've suggested. Are you saying you accept those?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah, whether you accept those new amendments that have been sent by the draft policy. So for those in favour of, sorry, Hugh.
Oh, sorry. Just for clarity, Chair, is Natalie, are you able to summarise those, or is it too big? What are the changes? Is it so that we're clear what we're saying in fairness?
There's a summary document, I think, isn't there?
Yeah,
there is a summary document, yes. So it's in line with what's in the summary document then?
Yeah.
Yes, basically, what I've summarised it into about 10 main points.
Yes, you have. I've got it in front of me. So that we are accepting it with those amendments, if you like.
Yeah, those amendments are what's in the policy. I've just put it in one document on a
Okay.
page and a half rather than a 20-page document for you to,
Oh, yes, no,
to
thank you
read
very much.
through.
I appreciate it. Yeah, right. Well, I'll vote for then. I'll recommend it if that's what's needed.
Yeah, can you recommend it? We're recommended in seconding on voting, or
I'll recommend that we accept Natalie's version
thank you very much, Hugh.
with the amendments.
Would anybody like to second Hugh's proposal? So Adrian.
Yeah, I'll second it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Adrian. So all those in favour? Oh, I don't know.
Yourself?
Me, because I can't find my button.
It's unanimous.
Unanimous, I think. Yeah, thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Natalie.
And everyone gets an early
Well,
bath.
Oh, a little bit more, yeah. But we're going to get Hugh
Only
to
a
that.
tiny bit. Only a
We're going to
tiny
get Hugh to that other meeting. So with that, we're on to agenda item 5, licensing subcommittee meetings. To note the minutes for the following subcommittees, which have already been approved by the respective subcommittee members, which was on the 5th of March 2025, the 1st of April 2025, and the 16th of July 2025. Are we all happy with those? Lovely. Thank you very much. So with that, I have nothing else on my agenda, so I call the meeting to a close. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Chair.
you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
officers.
Bye.
Oh,
Thank
Debbie, you
everyone.
should
Bye
chair
now.
every meeting.
You think? They
Thank you.
say that at the town council when I'm mayor. I'm mayor this year. They're very glad that I'm mayor because they're in the pub with